legend. The death of Tiga and the 20 brave white tiger warriors became the stuff of legend. While a few viewed their mission as a failure, the majority of the underworld recognized Tiga's success. He had done what no one had ever dared to do: destroy the headquarters of the 10 great assassins. This feat marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. The legacy of Tiga, the honor of the white tiger, and the tiger claw technique he perfected became eternal symbols of courage and strength. Heated discussions in the underworld. In the dimly lit bars and smoky backrooms of the underworld, debates raged over Tiga's final mission. Some skeptics pointed out the loss of Tiga and his warriors, arguing that they had ultimately failed. However, the prevailing sentiment among gang members was one of respect and admiration for Tiga's audacity and bravery. Sure, Tiga and his men perished, one gangster said, taking a long drag from his cigarette, but they took down the 10 great assassins' fortress. No one has ever dared to do that before. Another added, it's not about how they died, it's about the fact that they took the fight to the 10 great assassins. That alone is a victory. Bravery and resilience. Tiga and his 20 white tiger warriors became legendary figures. Stories of their bravery, resilience, and unwavering determination spread far and wide. These tales grew in the telling, transforming them into almost mythical heroes. One popular story recounted how Tiga, with flames engulfing his body, had shouted, "The Great White Tiger," before launching his final ferocious attack on Silverback. This act of defiance and courage in the face of certain death became a powerful symbol of the white tiger's indomitable spirit. The warriors who fought alongside Tiga were also immortalized in these legends. Jin, who continued to fight despite being mortally wounded; Kai, who charged at his enemies with unyielding determination; Leon, who took her own life rather than be captured; and Rio, who used his last strength to bring down his opponent. Each of them became an enduring emblem of bravery and sacrifice. Public perception of Tiga and the White Tiger Warriors. The perception of Tiga and his warriors varied, but most viewed them with profound respect. Even their enemies couldn't help but admire their courage. Tiga was a true warrior, said one former rival gang member. He faced impossible odds and never backed down. You have to respect that. For those who had suffered under the 10 great assassins, Tiga was a hero. He had struck a blow against a seemingly invincible foe and brought hope to the oppressed. Tiga gave us a chance to believe in something better, said a small business owner who had once paid protection money to impersonators of the 10 great assassins. He showed us that even the strongest can fall. The legacy of Tiga's legacy was far-reaching. He left behind more than just a memory. He left a lasting impact on the underworld and the generations that followed. The honor of the White Tiger Gang was restored. Tiga's story inspired many young warriors to join the White Tiger Gang, eager to uphold the values of courage, honor, and strength that he embodied. The gang, once thought defeated, rose again, stronger and more united than ever. A new era begins. The death of Tiga and his warriors marked the end of an era, but it also signaled the dawn of a new one. The White Tiger Gang, revitalized by their sacrifice, continued to grow in strength and influence. The 10 great assassins, though still powerful, were forever changed by the loss of their fortress and the realization that they were not invincible. The underworld, too, was transformed. Tiga's actions had shown that even the mightiest could be brought low by determination and bravery. Gangs began to reevaluate their strategies, focusing more on unity and honor than sheer brutality. Tiga's life and death became a powerful story of resilience, courage, and sacrifice. His legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of those who followed him, a constant reminder of what it meant to fight with honor and integrity. Tiga and his 20 brave warriors might have fallen, but their spirit, their legacy, and their teachings continued to inspire and guide the White Tiger Gang and many others in the underworld. In the end, Tiga's story was more than just a tale of revenge and battle. It was a testament to the enduring power of courage and the unbreakable bond of brotherhood. And as long as there were those who remembered and honored his legacy, the spirit of Tiga and the White Tiger would never die. The loss of Tiger Claw. The martial art of Tiger Claw, crafted meticulously by Tiga, had once sent ripples throughout the underworld, earning both fear and respect from all corners. Now, with Tiga's passing, the world of gangs lamented the loss of this legendary technique that had ascended to almost mythical status. Tiger Claw wasn't just a fighting style. It was a symbol of power, precision, and unparalleled skill. The reverberations of loss. As news of Tiga's demise spread, so too did the realization that Tiger Claw had vanished with him. Conversations in dimly lit backrooms and smoky bars were filled with regret and wistfulness. In one such bar, a grizzled old fighter shook his head as he sipped his drink. "It's a damn shame," he muttered. Tiger Claw was more than just a technique, it was art in motion. Watching Tiga fight was like witnessing a storm, a blend of raw power and graceful precision. A young recruit, eyes wide with admiration, leaned in closer. "I always hoped to see Tiga in action someday, to learn from him. Now that chance is gone forever." Stories of Tiger Claw. Those who had seen Tiga use Tiger Claw recounted his battles with a mix of awe and melancholy. They spoke of the ferocity and elegance of each move, how Tiga's hands became claws that could tear through defenses as if they were paper. "I saw him once," an old fighter recounted, his eyes glazing over with the memory. "Tiga moved like a shadow, and when he struck, it was as if the very air shattered around him. That was the power of Tiger Claw. And now, it's gone." The impact on the underworld. The disappearance of Tiger Claw left a void in the underworld's martial arts landscape. It wasn't just another technique, it was the epitome of combat prowess, a style that combined raw strength with meticulous precision. Gangs and martial artists mourned its loss, knowing that the world had been robbed of a masterpiece. Masters of other martial arts expressed their sorrow and respect. Even those who had once been Tiga's adversaries couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. Tiger Claw had been a benchmark, a challenge that had pushed them to become better fighters. "Without Tiger Claw, the bar has been lowered," said one renowned master. "We all strive to be the best, and Tiga's technique was a constant reminder of what we could achieve. His passing is a blow to us all." The void left behind. In the training halls of the White Tiger, the loss of Tiger Claw was felt most acutely. Young fighters, who had dreamed of mastering the art, now trained with a sense of emptiness. They practiced their moves, knowing that no matter how skilled they became, they could never achieve the heights of Tiga's Tiger Claw. "Tiga's legacy lives on in our hearts," said a young warrior, his voice tinged with sorrow. "But the knowledge of Tiger Claw is lost forever. It's like losing a part of our soul." A legacy unfulfilled. The greatest regret was that Tiger Claw, despite its legendary status, had not been passed on. Tiga, in his dedication and perhaps secrecy, had taken the knowledge of his creation to the grave. This was a poignant reminder of the fragility of human legacy. Many speculated why Tiga had not shared his knowledge more widely. Perhaps he had intended to, but fate had intervened. Or maybe he believed that only someone truly worthy could inherit the technique. Regardless of the reason, the result was the same. Tiger Claw was lost, a symbol of courage and strength. Despite its loss, Tiger Claw remained a symbol of Tiga's unparalleled skill and indomitable spirit. The stories and legends of his battles continued to inspire new generations of fighters. They trained with the hope that one day someone might rediscover the secrets of Tiger Claw, or at least embody its principles of strength, precision, and honor. The world of gangs had lost a monumental piece of its history with the death of Tiga and the disappearance of Tiger Claw. Yet in their loss, there was a profound respect and admiration for what Tiga had achieved. The legacy of Tiger Claw would forever be a testament to the heights of martial prowess and the enduring spirit of a true warrior. Tiga's death marked the end of an era, but his memory and the legend of Tiger Claw would live on, inspiring future generations to strive for greatness, even in the face of insurmountable odds. The fire of his spirit burned bright in the hearts of those who remembered, ensuring that the essence of Tiger Claw would never truly be extinguished. Eagle's Fury. At the temporary headquarters of the 10 Great Assassins, tension hung in the air like a dense fog. The members had gathered, their expressions a mixture of fear and anticipation. Eagle, the formidable leader, stood at the center, his eyes blazing with anger. The attack on their headquarters had left the 10 Great Assassins devastated, and the ruin was beyond repair. Eagle's fury was palpable, and the rune was silent, waiting for the storm to break. The unleashing of fury, Eagle's gaze swept across the assembled members, his expression dark and foreboding. He had been absent for just one day, and in that short time, disaster had struck. His voice, when he spoke, was low and dangerous. "Who is responsible for this?" Eagle demanded, his voice like the rumble of distant thunder. The members exchanged uneasy glances before one of them stepped forward, nervously recounting the events that had led to their headquarters' destruction. As Eagle listened, his eyes narrowed, and his anger grew more intense with every word. Finally, it was revealed that Cobra, in a drunken stupor, had left behind clues that had enabled Tiga and his warriors to launch their devastating attack. Eagle's eyes locked onto Cobra, who stood trembling at the back of the room. The wrath of Eagle. Without warning, Eagle moved. His speed was like a blur, faster than the eye could follow. In an instant, he was in front of Cobra, his fist driving into Cobra's chest with the force of a sledgehammer. The impact sent Cobra flying backward, crashing into the wall more than 4 meters away. Blood spurted from Cobra's mouth as he struggled to breathe. The room was deathly silent, the other members frozen in fear. Eagle's display of power had been swift and brutal, a clear message to anyone who dared to be careless. Wolfbane's plea. As Cobra lay gasping on the ground, his young brother Wolfbane rushed forward, his eyes wide with panic and desperation. He fell to his knees before Eagle, bowing deeply. "Please, Eagle," Wolfbane implored, his voice trembling. "Please spare my brother. He made a mistake, but he has served you loyally for many years. He has fought bravely and has always been dedicated to our cause. I beg you, give him another chance." Eagle's eyes remained cold as he looked down at Wolfbane. The anger still simmered beneath the surface, but he could not ignore the plea of one of his most trusted members. Wolfbane had proven his loyalty time and time again, and his request was not without merit. The warning Eagle stepped closer to Wolfbane, his presence imposing and powerful. "I have tolerated many things," Eagle said, his voice icy. "But this level of carelessness is unacceptable. Our headquarters lies in ruins because of a foolish mistake. I should kill him for this." Wolfbane bowed lower, his forehead touching the ground. "I understand, Eagle. I take full responsibility for my brother's actions. Please, show mercy this once. I promise you, it will never happen again." For a long moment, Eagle remained silent, the tension in the room thick and suffocating. Then, with a sudden movement, he turned and delivered a sharp kick to Cobra's side, sending him sprawling across the floor again. "Consider this your only warning," Eagle said, his voice cold and unyielding. "I am sparing your life only because of your brother's loyalty and the service you have provided. But make no mistake, if anything like this happens again, there will be no mercy. Do you understand?" Cobra's gratitude. Cobra, still coughing up blood, struggled to his feet. His face was pale and pain radiated from his injuries, but he managed to stand. He bowed deeply to Eagle, his voice weak but sincere. "Thank you, Eagle," Cobra said, his words punctuated by labored breaths. "I will not let you down again. I swear it." Eagle nodded curtly, his gaze still hard. "See that you don't." The aftermath. The room slowly began to return to a semblance of normalcy, but the fear of Eagle's wrath lingered. The members knew that their leader was not to be trifled with, and the consequences of failure were severe. Wolfbane helped his brother to a chair, his face etched with relief and worry. "You were lucky today, Cobra," he said quietly. "Don't ever let this happen again." Cobra nodded weakly, his gratitude evident in his eyes. "I won't, brother. I promise." Reflection. As the members dispersed, Eagle remained standing in the center of the room, his mind racing. The attack on their headquarters had been a severe blow, but it had also revealed weaknesses within their ranks. He needed to ensure that such a disaster would never happen again. Eagle's thoughts turned to the future. He would have to strengthen their defenses, increase their vigilance, and train his members to be even more formidable. The 10 great assassins would rise from the ashes of this defeat, stronger and more ruthless than ever. But for now, he had to deal with the immediate threat. Eagle's eyes narrowed as he contemplated his next move. The world of gangs was a dangerous place, and only the strongest could survive. He would make sure that the 10 great assassins remained at the top, no matter the cost. The events of the day had been a harsh reminder of the stakes in their world. Mistakes were unforgivable, and loyalty was both a precious commodity and a double-edged sword. Eagle's anger had been justified, but he also knew that he needed to inspire fear and respect in equal measure to maintain his hold over the 10 great assassins. As the flames of their ruined headquarters smoldered in the distance, Eagle made a silent vow. He would rebuild their strength, avenge their losses, and ensure that no one would ever dare challenge them again. The 10 great assassins would rise from the ashes, more powerful and more feared than ever before. The Defenders. At the Wrestling Bear headquarters, tension hung in the air as IE, the gang leader, convened a meeting with his trusted subordinates. The dimly lit room was filled with the heavy scent of cigar smoke, and the atmosphere was thick with anticipation and unease. IE stood at the head of the table, his face serious and contemplative. "We must prepare for an attack from the 10 great assassins," IE declared, his voice steady but laced with concern. "We are one of the last 3 gangs standing, along with the mighty gorilla and the cunning hyena. It is only a matter of time before they come for us." Loyalty and resilience of the Bears. The Wrestling Bear gang was known for its unmatched loyalty and resilience. Like the bears they symbolized, the members of the gang were tough, unyielding, and fiercely protective of their territory and each other. They had clawed their way up from the bottom, fighting off smaller gangs and establishing their dominance through sheer determination and unwavering loyalty to IE. IE himself had built the Wrestling Bear gang from the ground up. He remembered the early days of struggle, when he and his warriors fought bravely against rival gangs to claim their territory. It was their loyalty and relentless spirit that saw them through the toughest of battles. The legend of Susie central to the gang's success was Susie, a warrior whose combat prowess was legendary. Susie's martial arts skills were unparalleled, and he was often compared to Tiga, one of the 4 heroes of the gang world. His loyalty to IE was absolute, and it was through his formidable strength and unwavering dedication that IE had achieved much of his success. Susie was a master of wrestling techniques. His famous moves could crush the bones of any opponent who found themselves trapped in his grip. Once someone fell into Susie's arms, there was no escape. He was known to squeeze the life out of his adversaries, their bones cracking under the immense pressure of his bear-like strength. Susie's fierce nature. Susie was a cold, silent, and somewhat ruthless figure. He rarely spoke and maintained an intimidating presence that struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. His unpredictable temper made him a dangerous ally and an even more dangerous adversary. His loyalty to IE was unshakable, but his volatile nature had led to unintended consequences. In a fit of rage, Susie had once killed several members of the Wrestling Bear gang, leading to his imprisonment for over a year. IE was hesitant to release him, fearing the potential for further uncontrollable violence. Despite his imprisonment, Susie remained a key figure in the gang's lore. His wrestling moves were legendary, and his punches were said to be as powerful as a storm. Each strike he delivered carried the weight of his immense strength and the fury of his spirit. The 3-layered defense strategy of the Wrestling Bear gang. The Wrestling Bear headquarters buzzed with intense preparation. IE, the gang leader, had devised a meticulous 3-layered defense strategy to protect his gang from the impending attack by the 10 great assassins. The gang members moved with purpose, each knowing their role in the grand plan. IE stood in the center of the control room, mapping out every detail of their defense on a large table covered in diagrams and notes. The first layer, traps and barriers. The outermost layer of defense focused on slowing down and disorienting the enemy. IE and his subordinates strategically placed various traps and barriers around the perimeter of their headquarters. 1. Hidden pitfalls. Camouflaged with natural foliage and designed to blend seamlessly with the environment, these pits were deep and filled with sharp stakes. Any intruder stepping on these concealed traps would fall into the deadly pit, either getting seriously injured or incapacitated. 2. Spike traps. Carefully hidden among the grass and bushes, these traps were triggered by pressure plates. Once activated, sharp spikes would spring up, causing severe injuries to any who dared to cross them. 3. Tripwires. Invisible in the dim light, these wires were set at ankle height. Tripping over them would trigger alarms and alert the inner defenses of the approaching threat. In some cases, the tripwires were connected to small explosive charges designed to maim and disorient the enemy. Before, barbed wire fences, strong and difficult to cut through. These fences were erected at strategic points to funnel the attackers into the most heavily trapped areas, ensuring maximum disruption. The second layer, archers and guerrilla tactics. The second layer of defense comprised skilled archers and warriors trained in guerrilla tactics. This layer was designed to harass and weaken the enemy before they could reach the inner defenses. 1. Elevated platforms. Archers were stationed on elevated platforms hidden among the trees. These vantage points gave them a clear view of the approaching enemies, allowing them to rain arrows down with deadly accuracy. The platforms were camouflaged to blend in with the treetops, making them difficult to spot. Number 2. Mobile archery units. Small groups of archers moved silently through the forest, constantly changing positions to avoid detection. Their mobility made it hard for the enemy to pinpoint their location, while they continued to launch precise attacks. Number 3. Hit-and-run tactics. Warriors trained in hit-and-run tactics engaged the enemy in brief, fierce skirmishes before melting back into the forest. These sudden attacks kept the intruders off balance and caused confusion within their ranks. 4. Signal system. A sophisticated system of signals using bird calls and animal noises allowed the defenders to communicate and coordinate their movements without alerting the enemy. This ensured that the archers and warriors could respond quickly to any breaches in the outer defenses. The third layer, the stronghold and the final stand. The innermost layer of defense was the heart of the Wrestling Bear headquarters. This stronghold was designed to be impregnable, with Ai and his elite warriors, including Susi, making their last stand here. 1. Reinforced walls. The stronghold was surrounded by thick, reinforced walls made of stone and steel. These walls were capable of withstanding both physical and explosive attacks, providing a formidable barrier against any intruder. 2. Guard towers. Strategically placed guard towers allowed the defenders to monitor the entire perimeter of the stronghold. Equipped with crossbows and heavy artillery, the towers served as both lookout points and defensive positions. 3. Defensive gates. Massive, reinforced gates controlled access to the stronghold. These gates were protected by additional traps and could only be opened from the inside, ensuring that no enemy could force their way in easily. 4. Susi and the elite warriors. At the heart of the stronghold stood Susi and the elite warriors of the Wrestling Bear gang. Susi, with his unmatched wrestling techniques and powerful punches, was the ultimate line of defense. His presence alone was enough to inspire confidence in his comrades and strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Releasing the beast. The atmosphere at the Wrestling Bear headquarters was tense. The gang members moved with purpose, securing the 3-layered defenses meticulously planned by Ai. But a sense of unease permeated the air as they knew that the most formidable weapon in their arsenal was yet to be unleashed. Susi, the legendary warrior with unparalleled wrestling techniques and devastating punches, was locked away in his cell, a measure taken by Ai himself over a year ago due to Susi's unpredictable and lethal temper. Ai stood in front of the heavily guarded cell where Susi was imprisoned. The solid steel door and reinforced walls served as a reminder of the immense strength and danger Susi posed. Ai had built the Wrestling Bear gang from the ground up, and Susi had played a significant role in their rise to power. But the warriors' uncontrollable aggression had also led to unintended casualties among their ranks. The plan to release Susi. As part of the defense strategy, Ai knew that releasing Susi was a necessary risk. The 10 great assassins were known for their brutality and skill, and the Wrestling Bear needed every advantage they could muster. Ai took a deep breath, steeling himself for the confrontation with his most dangerous asset. Accompanied by a trusted guard, Ai approached the cell. He motioned for the guard to open the door. The heavy metal creaked as it swung open, revealing Susi sitting calmly on a bench, his eyes closed as if in meditation. Despite being confined for over a year, Susi's muscular frame and imposing presence remained undiminished. Ai's resolve. Susi, Ai began, his voice steady but filled with underlying tension. We need your strength. The 10 great assassins are coming, and we must defend our stronghold. Susie's eyes slowly opened, revealing a cold, calculating gaze. He stood up, towering over Ai and the guard. "You locked me away, Ai," Susie said, his voice low and menacing. "Now you want to release me?" Ai met Susie's gaze without flinching. "I did what I had to do to protect our own, but now I need you. We all need you. Will you fight for the wrestling bear once more?" For a moment, there was silence. Then Susie nodded. "For the wrestling bear, and for you, Ai, I will fight." Releasing the beast, the guard stepped forward to unlock the chains that bound Susie. As the heavy metal restraints fell away, Susie stretched his massive arms, flexing his muscles. Ai handed him his signature leather straps, which Susie wrapped around his wrists, a ritual that signified his readiness for battle. Ai looked at Susie, a mixture of relief and apprehension in his eyes. "We have fortified our defenses, but we need you to hold the third layer, the heart of our stronghold. Your strength will be our last line of defense." Susie nodded again, his expression unreadable. "I will not fail you, Ai." Preparing for the battle. With Susie released, the wrestling bear gang felt a renewed sense of determination. The first layer of defense, with its hidden pitfalls and spike traps, was ready to slow down and disorient the attackers. The second layer, manned by archers and warriors skilled in guerrilla tactics, was set to harass and weaken the enemy. In the heart of the stronghold, the third layer, Susie took his position. The reinforced walls and guard towers provided a formidable defense, but it was Susie's presence that truly solidified their resolve. The warriors around him felt a surge of confidence, knowing that Susie, with his unparalleled wrestling techniques and powerful punches, would be there to protect them. The Strategist's Dilemma. At the new headquarters of the 10 Great Assassins, Eagle sat alone in his dimly lit office, the shadows of his thoughts cast across his face. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the city outside. His brow furrowed in deep contemplation. He was absorbed in the most daunting challenge he had faced in years, planning the attack on the wrestling bear's stronghold. The imposing defense of the wrestling bear. Eagle was a master strategist, renowned for his cunning and precision. But the task before him was unlike any other. The wrestling bear gang, under the leadership of Ai, had fortified their headquarters with a formidable 3-layered defense system. This intricate setup was designed to thwart any attack, and Eagle knew it would not be easily breached. The weight of the unknown. What troubled Eagle most was the lack of concrete information. Unlike previous targets, the wrestling bear's defenses were shrouded in secrecy. His usual sources of intelligence had come up empty, and attempts to infiltrate the gang had been met with failure. The thought of leading his men into an ambush, blind to the traps and countermeasures that awaited them, gnawed at his confidence. Eagle rose from his chair and began to pace the room. He had always prided himself on being 2 steps ahead of his enemies, but now he felt as if he were navigating a maze in the dark. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on his shoulders. Every decision he made could mean the difference between victory and defeat, between life and death for his men. The fear of Susie. Another source of Eagle's anxiety was Susie. Known for his unmatched wrestling techniques and devastating punches, Susie was a force of nature. His cold, calculating demeanor and loyalty to Ai made him a formidable opponent. Eagle had heard the stories. Once caught in Susie's grip, no one had ever escaped. The image of Tiga, another legendary warrior, fallen in battle was still fresh in his mind. Could his men withstand such a beast? Eagle stopped pacing and stared at the map of the wrestling bear's headquarters pinned to the wall. He traced the defensive layers with his finger, trying to find a weakness, a chink in the armor that he could exploit. But the more he studied, the more formidable the task seemed. The pressure of leadership. As leader of the 10 Great Assassins, Eagle had always exuded confidence. His men looked to him for guidance and inspiration, and he could not afford to show any sign of doubt. But the pressure was immense. The wrestling bear gang had proven themselves to be a resilient and powerful adversary, and the thought of underestimating them was a constant worry. He thought back to the words of his friend, "A true leader is one who can turn the tide even when the odds are against him." Eagle knew that he had to embody this principle now more than ever. He had to find a way to breach the wrestling bear's defenses, to outsmart Ai and his formidable second-in-command, Susie. The birth of a plan. By sheer coincidence, Eagle glanced out of the window and noticed workers constructing the gate of the 10 Great Assassins' new headquarters. An idea suddenly sparked in his mind, filling him with excitement. The solution to his problem had been right before his eyes all along. Eagle would infiltrate the Wrestling Bear gang by embedding his men among the construction workers building their defense system. This was their chance to gather the crucial information they needed. The glimmer of hope, Eagle quickly summoned his members back to the meeting room. His eyes were alight with newfound determination as he laid out his plan. "We have been struggling to find a way into the Wrestling Bear's stronghold," he began. "But what if we could place our men among those who are building their defenses? We could gather all the information we need from the inside." Falcon, Jackal, and Cobra exchanged glances, realizing the brilliance of the plan. They knew that the Wrestling Bear gang's 3-layered defense system was nearly impenetrable from the outside. However, if they could get inside and observe the construction process firsthand, they would have a significant advantage. Preparing the infiltration. The first step was to find suitable candidates for the mission. They needed men who could blend in with the construction workers, who had the skills and knowledge to understand and relay detailed information about the defenses being built. Eagle tasked Falcon with recruiting the best candidates from their ranks, ensuring they could maintain their cover while gathering critical intelligence. Training the operatives. Once the operatives were selected, they underwent rigorous training. They learned the specific skills required for construction work, along with techniques for gathering and transmitting information discreetly. Eagle emphasized the importance of their mission, reminding them that the success of their plan and the future of the 10 Great Assassins depended on their ability to remain undetected. Falcon oversaw the training, ensuring each operative was prepared for the challenges they would face. "You must become one with the workers," he instructed. "Blend in, do your job, but keep your eyes and ears open at all times. We need to know every detail of their defenses." Infiltrating the Wrestling Bear gang. With their training complete, the operatives were ready. They were sent to the Wrestling Bear's territory, posing as skilled laborers seeking work. I.e., the leader of the Wrestling Bear gang was eager to bolster his defenses and welcomed the additional manpower. The operatives were integrated into the construction teams, working alongside genuine laborers to build the fortifications. Gathering intelligence. Over the following weeks, the operatives carefully observed and documented the construction process. They noted the layout of traps and pitfalls in the first layer, the positions of archers and guerrilla fighters in the second layer, and the strongholds and escape routes in the third layer, where Susi, the formidable warrior, was stationed. Using discreet communication methods, the operatives relayed their findings back to Eagle and his members. The information they provided was invaluable, giving Eagle a comprehensive understanding of the Wrestling Bear's defense system. Eagle's detailed attack plan. After gathering sufficient intelligence, Eagle meticulously crafted a detailed plan and assigned specific tasks to each member of the 10 Great Assassins. The plan was set to strike at the heart of the Wrestling Bear gang's headquarters. Each member was armed with their distinctive weapon, ready to execute their role with precision. Lionheart. Weapons: twin short sabers. Mission: lead the initial assault from the left flank, creating confusion and disrupting the first layer of defense. His agility and speed are crucial for breaking through quickly and efficiently. Panthera. Weapon: a single sword. Mission: support Lionheart in the left flank assault. Panthera's task is to break shields and take down key defenders, paving the way for the rest of the team. Coben: a single sword. Mission: attack from the right flank, working in tandem with Panthera to apply pressure from multiple angles. Cobra will target and eliminate high-value enemies within the first line of defense. Wolfbane. Weapon: a single saber. Mission: approach from the rear, cutting down any defenders attempting to regroup or counterattack. Wolfbane's role is to ensure no enemies can mount a successful defense or escape. Hawkeye. Weapon: a chain. Mission: utilize his chain to attack from a distance, capturing and disabling key targets. Hawkeye's objective is to control the battlefield by restricting enemy movements and supporting close combat fighters. Tiger Claw. Weapon: a chain. Mission: complement Hawkeye's efforts by using his chain to bind and immobilize enemies. Together, they create zones of control and prevent enemy reinforcements from advancing. Scorpio Weapon: a staff. Mission: engage enemies head-on, using his staff to break through defenses and create openings for his teammates. Scorpio's powerful strikes will disrupt and demoralize the defenders. Bear Claw: a spear. Pierce through the second layer of defense with precision strikes, keeping enemies at a distance and creating a clear path for his comrades to advance. Falcon. Weapon: a crossbow. Mission: provide long-range support, picking off key targets and suppressing enemy archers. Falcon's accuracy ensures that any significant threats are neutralized before they can cause harm. Jackal. Weapon: iron cards. Mission: attack from hidden positions, using his iron cards to sow chaos and confusion among the defenders. Jackal's swift and unexpected strikes will weaken the enemy's morale and cohesion. Silverback. Weapons: saber and daggers. Mission: serve as the final attacker, directly confronting Susie, the most formidable opponent within the Wrestling Bear gang. Silverback's duel with Susie will determine the outcome of the entire assault. His goal is to defeat Susie and dismantle the final layer of defense, ensuring the success of the mission.